Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades, I hope you guys are doing well. Today, it's a wonderful day, kind of cloudy, but it's okay. At least gives us a break from the heat, but that's not my concern right now. I have a topic I want to talk about really briefly. I won't stay here for long. So if you're joining me, or if you're going to join me later on, or you're going to watch this on repeat, you know the first order of business is to like this video, share, subscribe, comment, do all the good stuff. But you need to like the video. That's the first order of business. And if it's your first time and you're wondering what this channel is about, my name is Kenyan Revolutionary. I talk about Kenyan politics and the world politics as it relates to Kenya. I'm Namnagani. So go ahead and like that button and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Let's get to the mada or mata at hand, okay? Now, we had a mandamano yesterday, and I mentioned what was happening briefly. I mentioned the red flags about this mandamano, given the fact that the infiltrators, the so-called commercial activists like Hanifa, you know, the fact that she was trying to be the front center and the main character in this whole mandamano just tells me that this thing was heavily infiltrated, and the narrative was controlled. Okay, they wanted to have a certain narrative about this protest, and indeed they got away with it. I told you about how both sides, you know, the people who are protesting, of course, who have had a legit reason to protest, which, you know, they're protesting against the finance bill, they're protesting against you know, the death of Ojuang and the people who are being killed, and just you know, generally against this Ruto regime, which is a legit concern. But like I mentioned, the problem is this movement has been infiltrated. This, not movement, but let me just call it the protest, the people who are out there to protest. This was a heavily infiltrated protest, okay? So while there was some level of success, you know, I think it was controlled, okay? Now, on the other side of the thing, of the spectrum, or this other side of this, were the goons that were allegedly hired by Sakaja. I mentioned the bizarre nature of this goons, the fact that they, you know, they were filmed going to city hall to receive bribes from Sakaja, and they're out there, you know, just brazenly telling people that, hey, listen, if you show up here, we are going to, you know, deal with you. Of course, we saw some different scenes of, you know, some of them who were captured, beaten up, and roughed up, and whatever the case is. But the main story, story that came out of yesterday's protest was the shooting of this street vendor, the guy who was selling ninio, alikuwa nauza mask, okay, who was shot by that police, and it made news. It's kind of making its rounds right now. Again, that story, while it seems so real, it seems like it's Ninio, but there's so many questions around this, you know, what's happening. I mean, within hours, this policeman was identified, and, you know, people went to his TikTok, they know his aunt, his mom, his all of that, okay? Which I found a little bit suspicious. Now, I'm not saying that it's not impossible to trace somebody based on their facial features and all that stuff, but it's just, to me, it's almost like a narrative was already written. It's so, you know, it's like it's like the protests were planned to be on this certain day, but the reporters, the infiltrators, the people who kind of were expected to show up in this protest, the infiltrators and the government, who are working on behalf of government, you know, pretending that they are not actually working for the government, they seem to have an already made up mind, or made up story headlines regarding this protest, okay? It's like they already had their narrative in place even before the first tear gas can was lobbed into the crowd, before the, you know, the shooting, before all the drama happened. It's already, they had the story down, packed, ready to give a headline of what the Mandamano was all about. But there's something else I want to talk about right now, okay? Because it gives me hope to know that there's a lot of people, the Gen Z, the young people, and let me not just limit this to Gen Z, because like I usually maintain, this movement, this resistance, this unease, the protests, the resistance by the majority of Kenyans is not just limited to this this age group or generation, okay? Of course, I know Gaito always says, you know, the baby boomers are the problem because they are, you know, subservient to the, you know, to the authorities or whatever the case is. They never put any resistance. They're easily bought off. But I tend to disagree on that point. I think while the previous generations, like the baby boomers, are more reticent when it comes to all this stuff, they easily acquiesce to what the authorities tell them. I think there's a huge number of them who also resist, okay? The point I'm making is this. Gen Z is not limited to just a generational age group, okay? I think it is majority of Kenyans. Now, the Gen Zs, who are the kind of the mascot of the representatives of the youth, who are out there in the streets, are the ones who are actually on the front lines, having these clashes with the police, with the state, confronting the state head on. Now, what gives me hope is this. There's a realization, and it's growing even among the most skeptical members of this age group. There's a realization that there's a need for a total overhaul of the system. It's no longer, let's entertain this certain candidate, let's entertain this so-called opposition, let's entertain this kind of tribal leader, let's entertain this regional tribal chieftain, let's entertain this political party. There's a reemergence, reinvigorated masses that are seeing the need of Kenyans coming together, regardless of tribe, political party, ethnicity, and all sorts of stuff, you know, whatever, leadership, whatever the case is. They see the need of coming together and going to the State House. Because as I was listening to the X Spaces and looking at the different kind of engagement in social media, these young folks are realizing that, you know, we need huge numbers in Nairobi. If you're going to have these clashes with these kind of goons, because the goons will always be there, okay? Anytime we have a major mandamano in CBD, because like I told you, Nairobi is the center stage, okay? That's the epicenter of all politics. Everything culminates in Nairobi CBD, okay? So if there's a major mandamano next time, we should have a 1 million man march at the CBD, okay? Again, June 25th, 2024 was the blueprint, how to do this. And somebody suggested that we should actually ferry people from all across the nation to show up, come to Nairobi CBD. I've made a video about this, and I gave you an example of how in the great, I had a dream speech that Martin Luther King made. There were buses and buses and buses coming all over from across the America, and people converge in Washington, D.C., people of different political ideologies, but they had one thing in common. They wanted the war in Vietnam to end. They were against the war, okay? So they decided to have a huge meeting down in Washington, D.C., where we had that great speech by Martin Luther King. I had a dream, Nino speech, okay? Now, similarly, this is not new. It has been done in Kenya, actually. Remember, I gave the example of 2017, when the ODM at the time, okay, when they were on the other side of the aisle, when they were fooling us, they were pretending to be the opposition. Regardless, the Hassan Johos and other stuff people, they mobilized their supporters. Once, remember when Uhuru Kenyatta did not, maintain, he He stole the elections. Actually, he rigged himself in and did not want to step down and declared himself president. The ODM folks brought people from all across Kenya and came to Uhuru Park, where Raila was installed, okay, as the people's president. Remember that? Now, if you remember what happened before that, because it's the same situation that these Gen Zs were facing. The government at the time, with Uhuru Kenyatta and Ruto, they hired goons, they hired a police force to show up in Nairobi CBD to try to deter people from coming into Nairobi CBD. They tried tear gases, they tried shooting down people, but there was so overwhelming number of people, thousands upon thousands, who descended upon the city of Nairobi. And the police were overwhelmed to a point where they had to back off. And there you had it. They made their way to the Uhuru Park, and Raila was sworn in as the people's president. They could not stop it. There's nothing the government could do. They could not even shoot. Even Nani Akuita Majesh, Uhuru Kenyatta did not kill him. So this has been done, and it can be done again. And I've made a video about this. I told you that the best way to go about this is to do the same. Galvanize, get people from all across the country, Kisumu, Nairobi, Eldoret, whatever, Kitui, Garissa, all the provinces. Kila mtu, if you can. And for those of you who have money, please. Lakini tuache mambo ya pay bill ambao, because you know, if you start doing that, wakina Hanifa will take advantage of this and give out a pay bill number so they can reach themselves. You know, Hanifa, this lady, let me digress a little bit. This lady, she wanted to start another pay bill for that shop that was raided by the police, the laptop. It is rumored, it's alleged that that shop was left open while every other shop was closed, anticipating what was about to happen in Mandamano. Because you know, when there's always protests, there's always a risk of people looting and breaking into businesses. So most businesses always close shop. But this business, laptop business, while they open their duka on that particular day. Okay, I think Francis Gaito alluded to that. And it is alleged that the owner of that shop is connected or somehow related to Hanifa. So when the police went and looted the laptops from that Ninio, and we saw the video clips, Hanifa wanted to start another pay bill. What is with this lady with the pay bills? She discovered that that's how she can scam people into making millions. Remember when people were trying to hold her accountable for the money that she was receiving last time, and she gave a bullcrap Excel printout of how the money was sent, and it never specified who actually received it on what hospital. And right after that, she went and bought a new cell phone and a new car. Right after that, when Albert Ojwang died, it was obvious that the person who was helping the family was Eric Omondi. Hanifa also started her own pay bill. This is a business, a scamming business that she's doing. Every time there's a mandamano, every time she's always the one that wants to start a pay bill. But that's not what I want to talk about right now. So sorry, I digressed. Let's get back to on track. So the point I'm making is this, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. The point I'm trying to make is this, that if we do something that has always worked, which is let us get our relatives, our friends, our Ninio, Ambao, Kouko, Ushago, whatever the case is, all this different, not Ushago per se, but every part of Kenya. Let's meet up at CBD on a specific day, whether it's June 25th or whatever the case is. Overwhelmingly show up at the CBD. I'm telling you, these goons can do nothing about it. The police can do nothing about it. Even the army can do nothing about it if we do, because that will be the voice of the people. And no, I'm not going to use that says the voice of the people is the voice of God. That's not true. Actually, God usually do not speak the same voice in the same voice as the people. But again, that's not what I want to. So what I'm saying is this. If you look at June 25th, 2004, and even when people were, people were protesting against the Adani, remember when Occupy Airport, you saw what happened. The police were so overwhelmed, they had to call in the army. And Ruto fears the army. I keep on telling you guys, you do not get it. And I will repeat it one more time. Ruto is scared shitless. He's scared of a successful popular revolution. That is what scares him to death. That's what keeps him up every night. The thought of people actually coming to CBD and going to raid the State House and declaring him persona non grata, or the enemy of the state, and declaring that Ruto must resign. And by the way, guys, Eliud Lagat did not resign. He steps aside. There's a difference. Do not be fooled. But the positive sign out of that, even though he's fooling people that he's resigned by saying that he stepped down, it shows that pressure bursts pipes. The pressure by the people, Gen Zs and other people in general, the Kenyan people, the outrage that people actually, vented in through the express, the social media, and even in public, shows that it works. This government can be brought down. Ruto can be brought down. This is not something hard to do. Okay, let me not say it's not hard to do. Let me fix that. I'm sorry to say that. It is actually challenging, yes, but it needs the participation of the people. People should stand in solidarity. To the cause. We have to come together. We can only achieve this if we all come together and go down the CBD and declare Ruto to be not the head of the state of the Republic of Kenya. Kenya is actually not a republic. Well, we are a republic technically, but we are a democracy. There's a difference. Okay? But I won't get into the nuance of what Kenya is. We are a constitutional democracy. I'm not going to go and explain to you what that is. I've already said that one more time because that's not the emphasis of this video. What I'm trying to emphasize is like I can smell victory by the Kenyan people. It's like tumefika in the penalty box, to give us football analogy. Ruto ndio goalkeeper, ameanza kutetemeka, anapaparika. This guy is scared. If you see how he behaves, how he acts, the action, the kind of reaction that he has when there's a mandamano, it shows me that this guy is scared. He's scared. And Raila cannot save him. Because Raila, Ruto was depending on Raila's goons to deter the Gen Zs from going to CBD. But look at those clowns that were trying to intimidate people. The infiltrators notwithstanding, the protests were relatively successful. The voices were heard. So just imagine if we were to organize and ferry people from every part of Kenya to come to CBD. Just a meal, even 100,000 people showing up in CBD and staying in CBD until Ruto announces his resignation. Sema Joseph Karaoke, karibu sana, nice seeing you, brother. Just think about that. No, let me just repeat this one more time so you can get it for those people at the back. Imagine the pressure that people put in after the outrage regarding Albert Ojwang's death. Okay, and there was a young man killed in Ukambani today. I just saw the MCA really speak passionately about that, about another police killing today, Leo, or rather last night or today, whatever the case is. No, but like, just think about it. Now, Ambia, listen to me. Just listen to me. I know you might think I'm crazy, but listen to me. This is real shit, real life. Excuse my French. Listen to me very carefully. The outrage that people had when Albert Ojwang was gunned down and the manner in which he was killed, absolutely, Joseph. The outrage, knowing Ruto and how intransigent he is in defending his stooges, members of his community, this guy actually gave into pressure and stepped down. Now you can argue that he was fooling us by not actually resigning. It wasn't a resignation letter, but still, it's a sign that when this guy is pushed to the wall, he will crumble. Okay? He will crumble. When he faces pressure, he will give in. Ni kiburi tu ananinio, ni tu kujifanya ati he's not going to do, but the pressure because listen, this is what's happening. Now that the police are under scrutiny for the extrajudicial killings, for the killings that has been happening in the past few months, starting from Amite Joseph Karaoke, starting from Rex and those Gen Zs that died last year, moving up to Albert Ojwang, and now this young folk that was killed in Ukambani. Okay? The police are under scrutiny. So when we go to Mandamano, the police will be extra. I'm not saying they're going to be cautious, they're not going to kill anybody, but they will be hesitant, knowing that now, if you shoot somebody like that young man that was shot yesterday, sura yako itachukuliwa, picha utapigwa picha, and people will trace where you are, and you will be brought to account for your crime. Even if you get away with it, people will know who your relatives are. Now utakujiwa. So the police are already under pressure. What am I trying to say? I'm saying this thing is working. Sustained pressure will make Ruto's regime crumble. The guy has no balls, as you might think. He's a coward masquerading as a head of state. I won't say that, Joseph Karika. I know, because Ruto will bring his own special. I told you last time, there was somebody who was saying, oh, the army is killing the people, the Kenyan people. And I said, the army were not killing people. There's a special unit within the army that has been handpicked by Ruto to actually carry out these atrocities against the Kenyan people. It is not the army in general. But I agree, I see what you're saying, Joseph Karaoke. Yes. They'll be hesitant when it comes to how they interact with the Wananchi. Yes, they might lobby the tear gas, and yes, there are people who are going to lose their lives, but they will think twice before they do it, because they are under scrutiny, heavy scrutiny as it is right now. Now, what I'm saying is this. people organize and do something that I've suggested that has been done before. It has been done before. I didn't come up with this and say that, this is my idea. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying this is a method that has been done before, where let people organize buses, lorries, trailers, tractor trailers, whatever the case is, tusafirishe watu from all parts of the country, na tuseme tunakutana CBD on the 25th. And when we get there, no one shall leave Nairobi CBD until Ruto and his entire executive branch and the whole legislative body announced that it has been dissolved. Kwamba wamejiuzuru, they've resigned, all of them. The legislative branch of government and the executive branch of government, starting with Ruto going downwards. All the CSS and everybody underneath them. Mpaka watchman, mpaka wajiuzulu. That's what it is. Absolutely. These guys are cowards. Ndio maana nasema that is what we need to be doing. Now, imagine listen, just think about it. Even in 2017, vile ODM walifanya hivyo. When ODM guys or Azimio guys, whatever you want to call him, those, vile walienda hapo Uhuru Park. Where were the goons? Ndio nawaambia, even in June 25th, what hata hiyo ya 2017, June 25th, when Gen Zs went down to Ninio, walienda hapo chini, walienda hapo Nairobi, CBD, whatever the case is. Huh? What happened? Huh? Who stopped them? Hao maguno walifanya nini? Hao wakora wasakaja walifanya nini on that day? Nothing. They couldn't do anything because the number of people who showed up was so overwhelming. Walikuwa hawezi kuibia kila mtu. Na hao maguno walikuwa na chapo. Absolutely. So this can be done. The whole executive. Na watu wakae Nairobi mpaka Ruto atoe public service announcement declaring that he has stepped down, he has resigned as the president of the Republic of Kenya. It can be done. What was it okay? Mpaka Ruto ashuke. You understand? So it can be done. Now, there's something I want to talk about real quick, which is the second thing on my agenda, is political blackmail in Kenya. Have you ever wondered why some of these folks who seem to have been part of the movement are pro? Absolutely. Have you ever wondered why some of these folks who seem to be pro a revolution, they turn their backs and start supporting the government? Okay? What I'm getting at is the political blackmail in Kenya. One of the methods, wacha niwaambie kitu. You see people like Esther Passaris and Kaluma. Very interesting story about Kaluma that is developing right now on the social media, especially in X, that has him actually go quiet. I will touch on it. It's an alleged story, but I will tell it in a few minutes. But let me tell you this. Have you wondered why people like Kaluma, Esther Passaris, they say such outrageous things in support of this current regime? And you ask yourself, it's not normal. Any thinking, level-headed human being will never spew such vitriol that these people always do on social media or in public. And the answer is pretty simple. It's called blackmail. Most of these politicians, whether it's governors, whether it's senators, whether it's CSs or members of parliament, wanafanyiwa kitu inaitwa blackmail. Even Babu Owino, somebody like Babu Owino, who people think that is the next best thing since sliced bread, but is not. I'm sorry, Babu Owino, you're not it. You're not that guy, okay? And I know you want to be governor, but no, you're not. Hao watu wanakuanga blackmail. Babu Owino has to play a role because they have something on him. I was listening to somebody give a speech somewhere. It was a gentleman that was giving a speech. He was part of he was a member, he used to be a member of the CIA. For those of you who don't know CIA was started around 1953 by the Dallas brothers. But anyway, that's not important. I won't give you the history of CIA, but I'll just tell you this, that part of their covert operations, just like any other intelligence, it's not only CIA that does it. Mossad does it, the Russian, they do it, the German, every intelligent organization does it. They target lawmakers, influential people in a certain government. For example, Kenya, okay? If they want to influence the decision that, let's say, Mbadi would make regarding the policies, monetary policy of the country, how the economy should, what kind of action that particular country, policies they should implement, they dig into their history. Kama Mbadi, wanaenda wanatafuta Mbadi anafanya nini, what kind of Mbadi, what does Mbadi likes. Alafu, wakiona Mbadi is a straight, is an upright man, watajaribu kumtega. So they organize, wanamwekea kuro fulani hapo, then he'll be found out in a very precarious situation. Wanampiga picha hapo na huyo malaya, or whatever the case is. Then they present that to Mbadi and tell Mbadi, hey, listen, Mbadi, you have to accept this IMF loans, or else we shall show the people that ulikuanga, we shall show your bibi yako na watoto wako and your members of your constituency and your boss that wewe ufanyanga hizi vitu, unaendanga kwa Inange Street saa 9 usiku. See what I'm saying? A story has emerged in X, Twitter, formerly known as Twitter. Hi, cousin Shimariam, karibu sana. Hit the like button. Okay? That has Kaluma in a pickle. Kaluma. Opondo Kaluma. I forgot his first name. I think his name is Opondo Kaluma. Yes. That ODM guy who usually talks a lot of smack on X. So Kaluma has been trolling a lot of Gen Zs. Every time Gen Zs, they were mourning Albert Ojwang and all that stuff. And Kaluma, as you know, Kaluma is very, very active on X. And his whole spiel is always trying to, be the Gachagua of Luo Nyanza, okay? Basically. Everything about Kaluma, his political perspective is always skewed. Is under, it's like, it's all about Luos, we have done this, we are now in government, Luos about. That's about, he's the Luo version of Gachagua, okay? So this guy, but at least Gachagua does not troll people. At least he doesn't troll the Gen Zs. So Kaluma alianza kutroll. He started trolling the Gen Zs, okay? Saying sijui nini ati mnajifanya ati mnamona Ojwang. Of course, he, like I said, everything about Kaluma is about tribe. It's about Luos are under siege, okay? So Kaluma started saying that, oh, nyinyi mnajifanya mnamona Ojwang, sijui nini. And somebody released not released, replied to Kaluma. And they mentioned an incident that allegedly happened in St. Petersburg, Russia, back in 2015, where Kaluma was part of a delegation of Kenyans who went there for a meeting. It's a UN something, whatever, summit on corruption and all that stuff, okay? But then, this is what happened, okay? Just to give you a quick rundown of what this was all about. So it is alleged that Kaluma, while he was there with Jakoyo Midio and some other delegates, okay, from Kenya, while these guys, everybody, you know, I don't know if they were sharing a hotel or whatever the case is, but while everyone was out there, kufanya hizo, you know, everyone was out there, you know, in a meeting or something, Kaluma took that opportunity. This is all alleged, okay? This is all alleged. But go check somebody called Kremlin. His name is Kremlin. He's on X. So it is alleged that Kaluma ordered some escorts. Ordered some escorts, okay? What I mean, for those of you who don't know who escorts are, escorts ni malaya. Okay? Kaluma aliingia kwa internet akaorder malaya or alipiga simu, whatever the case is. This is all alleged. Like I say, this is not coming from me. Go to the guy called Kremlin on X. He started giving out the tea. So Kaluma sorry, this sounds like gossip because it's not my type of shit, but I'll just say it for the sake of, to explain, to make a bigger point, okay? So Kaluma aliingia ka order malaya, alipiga simu, whatever the case is, au malaya akakuja kwa ninio kwa hoteli or whatever the case. Then I don't know if Kaluma did not want to pay them or whatever happened. Nobody knows, okay? It's kind of a shady story, but either way, it ended up as after the misunderstanding between Kaluma and Malaya, because Kaluma tried to get away with it without paying or whatever the case is. Kaluma is alleged again, Kaluma was forced to Kaluma was asked to bend over. Now yeah, you get the point. And there was a mess in the bed sheets, Majonde, or whatever the case. This is all alleged. It's not coming from me, ladies and gentlemen. So don't come for me. Okay, go to that guy's page. He's kind of dropping that information. And so wakina Jakoyo Midiwo, when they came back, waliingia kwa hoteli na hoteli was full of shit, literally. All over in the bed and all stuff. Polisi wakaitwa. Apparently it was a huge story in Russia, whatever the case is. I don't know. But either way, the story is Kaluma alikata, yeah, that word, walimnyandua or whatever. And he shitted on himself because he didn't want to pay or whatever the case is. That's all alleged. Like I said, that's all alleged. It's not me. So when this guy posted that to reply to Kaluma, Kaluma ended up deleting his tweets. And the guy was like, listen, if you keep on trolling, I will give more info on this story. So you better stop now before we drop the tea. But anyway, so Kaluma he didn't backtrack, but he kind of deleted his tweets. And he's been quiet. He's not addressing that issue anymore. He's not even talking, whatever, you know. But the guy called Kremlin said that he will, you know, atazidi kufinya if Kaluma continues trolling. Now, this has been catching fire, and the guy also said that he will give us the tea regarding Esther Passaris, what Esther Passaris did. Yes. Again, like I said, guys, this is not my kind of, it's not my area of interest as far as, you know, gossip and whatever. But the point I'm trying to make, the bigger point I'm trying to make by telling you that story, like I said, is all alleged. I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know. I never even heard about that story till I saw that guy called Kremlin post it. The thing I can tell you about Kaluma is this. is that this guy doesn't clean. He has a lot of skeletons in his closet. I remember when he had an exchange with Abdel Nasser, the Grand Mullah. They were going back and forth about, you know, Juris Pesa, and Kaluma, in a typical fashion, started defending Ruto and defending the courts, saying that the courts nini nini. And Kaluma made a mistake of attacking Grand Mullah, saying that Grand Mullah was corrupt. And Grand Mullah got mad, and Grand Mullah said, "Hey, Mr. Kaluma, do not dare test me. Your wife was a magistrate in whatever such and such a court, and I have documentation that can prove that she received bribes. Keep on pressing that button, and I will release the whole Juris Pesa evidence that have that has to do with your wife receiving bribes on a certain case." And after that, Kaluma went really quiet, and he has never engaged Abdel Nasser Grand Mullah since then. So this guy kind of, he shoots himself in the foot sometimes, a lot. He backs in the wrong tree. But what I can say is this: the point I'm trying to make is this: these Kenyan politicians, majority of them, especially the ones that you see that are vehemently supporting this regime, corrupt regime, even the guys on the opposition side, everyone, these guys are they are compromised. They're compromised in such a way, and if you look at the kind of dirt or kind of shenanigans that they have been involved in the past, it's always have to do with some kind of sexually deviant action that they did back then, or they're still doing, or they're involved in some dirty deals as far as drug dealing, or some receiving some money from some sketchy individuals. So what I'm saying is this: majority of these folks, especially the ones that you see are supporting this corrupt regime, they are compromised. Wali, they were blackmailed. I'm not saying Kaluma was blackmailed in that case. I do not know what the circumstances surrounding that case. This is all alleged. I don't know. But this is something that has always been, like I told you, John Parkins wrote in his book, and many other ex-CIA guys always written in their books, saying that, the whole, for those of you who have been following the Epstein stuff, if you follow anything, I won't go in deep into it, but the whole Epstein thing was with the Epstein Island, it's all about a blackmail in your movement, okay? Where people, top politicians, celebrities, and all these people, they're being, taken to this Epstein Island to get involved in some crazy stuff that was going up there. And then come to find out that, his wife, what's Maxwell, whatever, got something Maxwell. Her dad was like a head of the Mossad in the 80s, okay? So Epstein has always been involved in some, intelligence community. He does the work for the Mossad to blackmail politicians. That's why you see there's a lot of politicians who are really blindly pro-Israel, and you wonder why, It is because that. But anyway, that's not what I'm getting at. The point I'm trying to make is this: majority of politicians, this is always known, a lot of intelligence community, whether it's CIA or Mossad or MI6 or whatever the case is, that's part of how they get influence over different nations. They go and find out much about these influential politicians, and they find dirt, or they set them up to a point where they'll have something against them. So when they come back and they want them to do what they want them to do, or vote a certain way, or support them in whatever the case they want, they will always get that consent, because they have that dirt which can be damaging to the career of that particular politician. Now, I'm not saying that Kaluma was blackmailed, but I'm saying this: majority of people you see that are infiltrating this Gen Z movement, they are probably most likely not just being paid to do so, not just being threatened to do so. Some of them are also blackmailed. That's why it's important to always live a stand-up, clean life. Don't get yourself involved in some bullshit, okay? I mean, personally, my shit has been hacked. They can see everything that's going on with my life. I have nothing, nothing in my background that I have to worry about, okay? I have normal problems that any human being can go on. But hakuna mambo ya sijui nimefanya hivi. So I'm not worried about that. But anyway, that's what I'm saying. So as an activist or a politician or somebody who is serving the public or wants to advocate for the good of the public interest, it is best if you be an upright, honest, open person where you don't get yourself involved in some weird stuff that can actually put you in a position where you can be blackmailed into, supporting something that you might not support normally, okay? Una support vitu ambao as it doesn't make sense. So that's what I wanted to say about this whole thing. With Kaluma, hizo ni shida za kujitakia, okay? You go to Russia, you are a delegate of representing Kenya, and you go there, unataka kutafuta malaya, then unafikiri uko na hiyo tabia, unaleta hiyo ujinga uko nao ya Kenya, you get caught up in some stuff, hiyo ndio aibu itakuja nayo. So, but anyway, that story is an alleged. It's not coming from me. I'm not trying to, spoil Kaluma's name. That is what is alleged. Kremlin, his name is Kremlin, he's on X. Go check him out. He writes the story about that and is writing more about Esther Passaris and others. Go check him out. But the interesting stuff, the reason why I mentioned that story is because usually I don't pay attention to it. I won't even give it the light of the day. But the fact that when he mentioned this, Kaluma actually deleted his tweet, which means there's some truth in that. This guy knows something that Kaluma knows that is actually might have some truth in it, which scared Kaluma shitless. And Kaluma has been on his best behavior in the past 24, 48 hours. So that means there's something there. So what I'm saying is this. Majority of these people who you see are, pro-government. They are really saying some really, these obscurantists, okay? These people who mislead the public knowingly, passionately, trolling, the Robert Alai types, okay? Look at their background. You see that somewhere, somehow, somebody has something on them, okay? And that's why they're behaving the way they're behaving. But that will not deter the people of Kenya from getting where they're coming. Like I said, I am so happy. I can see how how Ruto is affected and how scared he is by the fact that these Gen Zs are determined to take him out. And they're not going to wait to 2027. They're organizing, they want him out. And one more point I want to make is this. It is apparently clear that Gen Zs are just not working by themselves. I think they're being assisted by some ex-governmental official, okay? Whether it was people from Kenyatta's government or people from Kibaki's government or Moi government or whatever the case is, people who are in like, I mean, if you pay attention, in that interview by Okiya Mtata, I mentioned that before, when he mentioned that the day that these young folks went and got into parliament, they had access to rooms that no one can, have access in unless they have some special clearance or special clearance to get into those rooms. And the funny thing is, once they got into some of these rooms, there was no CCTV of the people who got into those rooms, okay? And he suspected that there was that really suggests that there was an element of an inside job. The same thing, if you look at the fact that this guy, Kremlin, is giving information about Kaluma, something that not a lot of people knew about, that suggests that maybe, there are people who are in the intelligence community, NIS or whatever the case, who might not be pro-Ruto, and they are sympathizing with the Gen Z's cause, and they are working in assistance in assisting, you know, these young folks. I'm not saying majority of them are, but maybe there are some people there in there who might have disdain for a particular politicians who are, you know. So you never know, you never know. But like I said, I am very encouraged by the fact that these guys, these young folks, are looking forward to now occupy State House. Okay, removing Ruto. That should be the goal. It's not only removing Ruto, the whole political class. Ruto is the head of the snake right now. Take off the head of the snake, but do not stop there. Mpaka Ruto, Raila, Uhuru, Gachagua, Martha Karua, Wamalwa, all of them have to leave. Wajitoe. Because you know, there's some people, let me tell you something, as I wrap up. There's some of these members of political class who think that they will harvest this movement ya Gen Z. Ati Ruto akishatolewa, sasa hao ndio watajiweka ati hapo, sasa hao ndio washindi. And they're the members of this political class. For example, Gachagua. Gachagua, in his mind, he really thinks that if the Gen Zs are successfully remove Ruto, he shall inherit that movement. In fact, in his mind, I think he believes that he has total control of it, or at least he does, you know, some level of it. You know, wanafikiri ati Ruto akishatolewa, Gachagua ama Wamalwa or Kalonzo, ndio maana unaonanga wanajifanya ati wanasaidia Gen Z. They think that once Ruto falls, they will inherit. Wataingia ati they'll be the favorite. Sasa hao ndio watakuwa rais wa Kenya. They're forgetting that this fight is not just against Ruto. This is a fight against the total corrupt Kenyan political system. Ruto is just, in fact, he's not the head. He is basically the mascot of this corrupt system. So removing him is just umemaliza mascot. Haujaingia in the real thing. For those of you who know, mascot ni ka salesman wa hii corrupt political class. Not the real thing. The real thing ndio sasa iko hapo nyuma ya Ruto. And it goes as deep as in the colonial master. Colonial masters hao kudeal nao sio ngumu. Kwa sababu, once we get rid of these stooges, all we have to do is to do what Ibrahim Traore did. Tunasema, okay, nyinyi kazi yenu hapa imeisha. Toeni hizi askari yenu, hizi military yenu, bases ambazo ziko Kenya, ile iko Lamu, ile sijui iko Nanyuki, ile iko huko Laikipia, toeni, rudini nyumbani. That's all you have to do. Na uambie haya, mkileta nyef hizo companies ambazo ziko hapo hivi, toa. Any land that you own in Kenya ambazo it belongs to foreigners, like hizi za British or whatever, tunachukua. Inarudi kwa government. It's easy to deal with this, you know, colonialist. Shida ni hawa colonial stooges ambao hapa wanatufinyilia hapa kwa nchi yetu. I had a very moving speech by a former Mau Mau guy, ex-Mau Mau guy, that was giving a very wonderful, it was a moving statement. I have it on my X. If you follow me on X, on Twitter, Kenya Revolution, go down my timeline. I retweeted it. I think somebody posted it. It was a very moving statement by the ex-Mau Mau guy. He said, I fought to remove Mbeberu, Mzungu. Tulienda mistuni kutoa the colonialist. Unaona? We went to the bushes to remove the colonialist, the British. Okay? Lakini amesema, sasa tuko na hawa macolonialist ambao ni weusi, ambao wametufinyilia. They're oppressing us. Na pale tumefika, itatubidi turudi mistuni tena. Ndio tuwaondoe. You understand? It will force us to go back to the bushes again. Kutoa hao waninio colonialist ambao wako hapa saizi ambao wametufinyilia. And he said this is our colony ambao ni waninio the ambao ni weusi. They are worse than hata wale wazungu tuliwapiga. Thank you, Chef. Yes, go look at this. It's crazy. Again, I'll say this. This is what he said. I'm you know, paraphrasing what he said. He said that the Mau Mau movement Okay? He was an ex-Mau Mau guy. He said they went to the bushes as Mau Mau to kick off the British colonialists. Okay? But he's saying that now, the present day, where we are going as Kenyans, we have black African colonialists who are worse than the British colonialists. And this will force us to go back to the bush. It might require us to go back to the bushes in order to get rid of these guys. Okay? So you have to understand. This is a guy who is in his 80s, 90s, whatever the case is. He's saying this just by look at where the country that he fought for is heading. Seeing all these tragic events that are happening in Kenya. The pogroms that happen in Githurai and other places. Okay? This is what he's saying. And it was actually touching. The guy was almost in tears when he's explaining that. You know, it gives you an idea of how far we have lost our way as a country. Okay? But there is hope. There is hope. The generation are saying, la hasha, Ruto. Hiyo mchezo mlikuwa mnafanya kitambo, siku za Uhuru Kenyatta, siku za Mwai Kibaki, siku za Moi, siku za Kenyatta 1, hiyo mchezo itaisha, itakoma this season. Hii ni season ya liberation through revolution and evolution. Unasikia? Political evolution. Hiyo system inaisha, hiyo system mpaka iangushwe kabisa. Hiyo system ya kucheza mnajifanya ati nyinyi ndio opposition kama Raila Odinga, sijui Martha Karua, sijui Kalonzo, mnajifanya ati ni opposition, alafu mnakoroga hapa, alafu election ikishaisha watu wanapigana, alafu mnaingia kwa serikali ati government of national unity. Hiyo system tunaiangusha. It has to. And by the way, next step is Hanifa needs to be ostracized the same way Boniface Mwangi will deal with Boniface Mwangi. You see, Boniface Mwangi ameshagunduliwa. Nowadays he doesn't even attempt to go to this maandamano because amejua watu wamemjua. Akienda maandamano watu wanamchapa. Same thing must be done with Hanifa. Na ule morabu mwingine ujifanya mtu wa human rights. Same thing needs to happen to them. Hanifa has to be ostracized. Hiyo mambo yake ya kujifanya kimbelembele ati sijui yeye ndio katikati ya maandamano zote, she needs to be dealt with. Mpaka tumtoe. Hanifa has to be dealt with. Vile tulideal na Boniface Mwangi. Boniface Mwangi alijiweka kwa, unakumbuka? He was telling people don't go occupy ninio parliament. So it is time to deal with Hanifa the same way we dealt with nani? Tulidel na Hanifa. That's the same way you should do it. Because our infiltrators, dawa yao ni moja. Like I said, if we make up our minds and we have a resolve, strong resolve, tumesema State House ndio tunaenda, ni mwisho, hakuna mahali pengine. Na hiyo State House tukifika tutakaa hapo mpaka Ruto announce ati amejiuzuru. Jiuzulu. Yeye na kabineti yake yote na legislative body yote. Na from hapo State House tutaamua nani atasimamia Kenya mpaka the next election. Kwa sababu tutachagua IBC mpya na kila kitu mpya. But mtu kama Hanifa should be the next one to be put on the blacklist. Tusimpatie hii attention anataka, ati anajifanya hapo ati anaibiwa simu, sijui anapigwa, hakuna kitu kama hicho. Na hizo mapay bill zake za kula pesa za watu. Hanifa needs to join nani Boniface, wapeleke ujinga wao huko Uganda na ninio kwa suluhu. Si hapa Kenya. She has been exposed. Unaona? So let us not let these people, our infiltrators wengine hawana sura ninio, they can't influence anyone. But mtu like Hanifa is dangerous to this movement and needs to be dealt with the same way. But next time akitokea Mambata, arudi nyumbani na hizo pay bill zake aekee bibi yake na bwanake. I don't know if she's married or not, but yes. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's the point I'm trying to make, ladies and gentlemen. There's hope. Naambia, Ruto ni mwoga. Ruto ni hii government ni kama yani ukishake tu kidogo itaanguka yote. And it will be a domino effect, naambia. When I saw Nani Lagata amesema ati is stepping aside, even though he's fooling people, ati resign, that shows that hawa majamani waoga. Pressure ilitoka huko juu akamwambia, ifanya ati ume resign, ndio hii mambo hii moto iende chini kidogo. Sustained pressure. Naambia hata mkikaa wiki moja tu, hata haitafika wiki. Siku 5 days, Ruto ako nje. Ataingia kwa ndege, yeye, Shalin, Recho na hao watoto wake waende dinio Congo Brazzaville. Ruto cannot survive bwana. Na even Raila cannot survive. Very soon watu wataanza kugeukia Raila hapo Nyanza. Very soon nawaambia. Even Raila watu wataanza kumgeuka. Na wacha nikwambie, Raila let me tell you something. Raila has always enjoyed the support ya watu. Every time akiona watu wamemgeuka, anarudi anajifanya hata yeye pia kuna watu. Even from 2002. He didn't want to join Kibaki. Alikuwa nafikiri ati atashinda na Moi will help him rig. Moi akachagua Uhuru. Kibaki was going to win in 2002 with Raila or not. Raila akaona watu wako huku, yeye pia akaingia huko ajifanye yeye pia is part of the movement, akasema Kibaki tosha. Okay? Vile even Gen Z. Vile Gen Z walianza kukasirika na yeye akajifanya let's not kill Gen Z. Ndio maana nasema watu wakianza kugeuka na wakigeukia Raila hii broad base atatoka mbio. Because Raila ni opportunist. Raila has no philosophical and ideological background where I can stand on. Jamani tumbo yake na pesa. Hiyo ndio anaangalia ngatu. Nothing there. Huyu jamaa is empty debe kama tu Karua. These are people who wanakimbia hapa Uganda, wanapewa pesa na George Soros hapa wakimbie waanze kusema ati we are fighting for human rights. Useless people. They don't have ideological conviction. They do not have any philosophy that guides them, principles. They don't stand on anything. Lack of integrity. They're not guided by anything. They're just opportunists masquerading as politicians and leaders and lawyers. Nothing there. Nothing. Hata ukiongea naye ukiongea tu ukianza kutoa statement moja, you can see this guy is an empty debe. Martha Karua was telling you atapeleka koti ya Supreme Court huko East African ninio. Any child, even a 5-year-old, can tell you that huwezi kutoa kesi ya sovereign nation upeleke huko East African ninio. And this is somebody who's bragging has been law for I don't know how many years. You can see intellectually these people are not there. They're morons. Moron means a grown person who has a mind of a child. Because mtoto always think about themselves only. Chakula kikuja ni yao tu. You have to tell a child to share with somebody else. A grown man can see far. A wise man. You share. Ukipata kitu, if there's wealth in the country, let the people enjoy the wealth. If everyone is living in a good conducive economic environment, crime itaenda chini. Kwa sababu everybody is being fed, everybody is prospering. Na tutaabudu Mungu. We give praises to the Most High. Lakini hawa mabudu shetani wanafikiri ati hao tu. Wanapenda the fact that wakienda wamekiwa red carpet hapo, Agwambo Terengenye, Martha Karua, senior counsel, fighting for human rights, Wamalwa, Tawe, idiots. These are people, naambia how to people, these people are stupid. Real life stupid people. Very stupid. Naambia very stupid. Ndio maana wazungu wanawatumia, kwa sababu wazungu wamependa mtu stupid hivyo. Ambao unampatia pesa kidogo. Nyinyi mnajigamba ati mko na bilioni. You see them, unaona kwa TikTok wako wamejigamba ati wako na pesa. What's this? Ule mamba mnono ambaye anajigambanga hapo Kisii anaitwa nani? Ati amenunua Mercedes Benz mpya G-Wagon. Boss, wewe unapigania pesa. Do you know these people wana print pesa? Hiyo pesa unapigania upate hata kakadinio sijui milioni 1 au bilioni 2. Hao wanaiprint. Na wewe unaipigania. Unaona ile mchezo nachezo hapo? These people, that's why wanawaangalia na nikawa nyi wajinga. Wewe unapigania kitu ambao mtu ana print. Unajifanya uko na pesa. Pesa umeibia watu. And you are willing to give this land that is supposed to benefit the people, indigenous people of your country, unapatia na watu wa huko wapande mimea ile wanataka, alafu wanawaichukua na wanawauzia in a higher price. Just because unataka watu wakupigie makofi ukienda niyo, sijui Farouk Kibet, sijui hawa wakina, just idiots. Wakupigie makofi, mheshimiwa, wakuite mheshimiwa na uko kuna flag kwa gari. Okay, Gladys Wanga, Oscar Sudi. My belt is 10,000, sijui, I don't know, 100,000 Kenyan shillings, 1 million. This shirt is... These are people who do not have a brain. They're morons. Psychologically deficient. Wajinga of the highest order. Ndio maana wazungu wanawatumia. Put them in power. Because that way we can control them. If you have morons leading your country, you have a country like Kenya. Ruto naitwa huko dineo England. Anaona, amevaa suti. I met the king of England. What is this? We have to liberate ourselves, bwana. We have to liberate ourselves. Mpaka tujiliberate. Mpaka tujiliberate. Hakuna mpaka tujiliberate. Mpaka hii ujinga tutajiliberate. Through hymns and arms. Tujiliberate Kenya. Seriously. Mzungu ana print money, anakuja na kuambia nipatie hiyo gold yako na unipatie land yako. Na anawaambia hii land nitaitumia, itakuwa yangu for the next 100 years. Meanwhile, mtaishi hapo kama tenants. Na atawaambia mnafuga nini kwa hiyo land. Just think about it. And you have somebody who's calling himself head of state kwa sababu amekaa kwa G-Wagon. Ati Mercedes M sijui nini, BMW GM something. Bentley. Kenyatta. Just because Mercedes, umekaa kwa Mercedes sasa unajifanya sasa unaitwa mheshimiwa, watu wanakupigia makofi. You see you're important. Gari to gari. You think that is quality of life. Haki ya Mungu. Judgment inakuja bwana. Judgment inakuja. Kweli hii ujinga itaisha. Ujinga itaisha. Afrika ya ujinga itaisha. Starting with Kenya. Think about it. I'm telling you to think. I'm not saying pesa ni kitu mbaya. Pesa is something that you can use as a transaction. Unanunua, you need ninio, ni currency. But let it be backed by gold. Have your own monetary system, independent. Not something that is pinged on the dollar or pinged on the euro or pinged on sijui nini. We have gold on the ground. Ping it in the gold. The gold standard. Wacha land ya Kenya ikuwa land ya wananchi, the people. Land ambayo inatoka kwa ground, ele mimea tunapata, we eat all of us. Kenya is rich enough to maintain, tukuwa ina chakula ya kutosha watoto wetu na watu wote. Ile mineral tunatoa huko hizi ambalo wazungu wanatoa huko Tsavo ninio, ambao nani. Look at who the minister they put there to be the head of minerals. A known drug dealer. You talk about Blackmail. Wewe upatie minerals na kupeleka kesi hapo nini? Una kesi hapo New York. Karibu sana James Mwangi, muhit like. Let me explain to you how this thing works. Ruto akona kesi ICC na Uhuru. Those cases are not closed. Nyinyi mnafikirianga zimefungwa. Let me enda kwa nini website ya ICC. Imeandikwa hapo hii kesi imefungwa until somebody akuja na new evidence na itafufuriwa tena. That's why Ruto and Uhuru waliua those witnesses that were supposed to do what? To testify against them, ambayo ilingefanya washikwe. Kwa sababu government ya Kibaki was supposed to provide protection on these witnesses. Our witnesses wakauliwa. That's why Ruto, Sang, Uhuru walked away from that ICC. But hizo kesi can be zinaweza kufunguliwa anytime. So Ruto asipopatiana hizi mimea na vitu vyote and sell our land, hawa wabeberu watakuja wamchukue wanawampeleke ICC wamfunge. That is the kind of political blackmail I'm talking about. That is happening. Karibu sana WS Banka, John Swangi, yes, Ruto must go, absolutely. Shimariam nakuona pia hapo. These are the kind of things that are happening in Africa. No, Traore aliingia akasema no, we have to reinvent the wheel. Aha, shaba saba ulolo, wa shaba. Leo nitawahubiria leo. Ndio maana nawaambia hii mchezo mpaka ishe. Ibrahim Traore, they are building their own electric car. Ibrahim Traore in Burkina Faso, they are building their own aeroplane that is going to be advanced even better than Boeing and Neo. And ile ingine inaitwangaje? Airbus. Airbus is a European one. Boeing ni ya American. They're going to build theirs. Wanna build magari zao electric, wanna build mandege zao. He's building infrastructure. He has ana increase production, anaweka security. Hakuna Al-Shabaab itawasumbua tena. Wanawanyonga huko kabisa. Corruption ukiiba, and he wants to introduce death penalty for those people who are caught in corruption. Inataka kupitishwa huko Burkina Faso. These are the kinds of things that we need to do. Si mtu anaiba, Mike Sonko anaiba, anafika hapo mnaambiwa ati not enough evidence. Anaenda anacheka na mnamuona na bilioni 6 akicheza, naambia and is mocking you, anaambia ati angalieni nimenunua Louis Vuitton mpya. Hao ndio ma celebrities. Na the news inasema, hey, look at that flamboyant former governor of Nairobi. Somebody who can barely spell. Na mnampigia makofi. Wewe. Alafu mnaringa ati sijui ati our country is better than Uganda, sijui our country is better than Tanzania. Mnaanza kusema ati Suluhu is amendada. Kwa sababu Boniface Mwangi ameenda hapo akajifanya ati sijui alifanywa nini kwa matako. Stories za uongo. Na mnasema ati Suluhu is better. Go and look at Tanzania. Go and look at Tanzania. Tanzania wako na electric electric version of their SGR. Why do they have electric SGR? Thank you. Meanwhile, they're auctioning the Kenyan land. Mnasemanga dani huyu sijui Suluhu ni mtumba. Go to Tanzania nyinyi. Tanzania is taking over from Kenya. Nyinyi mkicheza hapa mnapiga bado mnacheza huu kasongo. Mnaitana cousins hapa. I mean, I'm not talking about you nani, I'm saying about Kachagu. Mnasikia Kaluma. Enda Tanzania. Go look at Tanzania. Niliwaambia, that's why Suluhu ameshikana na that Namibian president. That Namibian president is a lioness. She's in her 70s, but she's a lioness. She reminds me of Mekatilili. Na ameshikana ni rafiki ya Traore. Hawachezi. This is a new breed of African leadership where ownership, independence, and economic freedom, free from the tentacles of the Western colonial powers. Yes. Lakini mtu ambaye anataka kuimprove country, mtamuita Suluhu ni amendada. Kwa sababu ya story ya uongo, wakina Boniface Mwangi wanatuambia story ya uongo. And you know ni uongo, lakini mnataka kumtetea. An African that wants to improve the lives of their nation, mnamuita mindada. Lakini Kasongo mnataka kumpigia makofi. Broad-based government. No. Something is wrong with this picture. Something is wrong with that picture. Your picture, it doesn't make sense. Me, it makes sense. Unaona kina Hanifa wanakuja hapo mkiliita maandamano. Yeye ndiye amesimama hapo na buibui. Anajifanya yeye ndio sasa ndio victim number 1 Kenya nzima. This goons. Alafu anajifanya na hyperventilate. The next hour, pay bill. Changeni pesa. Hanifa amechapwa mbata. Pay bill. Mnatuma. Next week amenunua Range Rover mpya. Unamwona anaanza kutukana watu kwa nini kwa X. Hey, I wake up today, I feel so beautiful. Hey, the haters. Now ndio mnaita ati hao ndio sasa ndio ati. Do you know, let me explain to you something. I want to give you 2 examples. Do you know why Mau Mau had dreadlocks? Do you know why Fidel Castro alikuwa na mandevu? Fidel Castro before aende mistuni alikuwa hana mandevu. Do you know why Fidel Castro had mandevu? Somebody answer me. Okay, number 1 is because they went to the bush, of course. The bush, you can't really actually have time to groom. Of course, that's the answer. They didn't have time to groom in the bushes because both Fidel Castro alienda mistuni na Mau Mau alienda mistuni. The point is walienda mistuni because mambo ya kujali about your beauty, aesthetics, looks, fashion was not of importance because they were fighting for a higher agenda, higher mission. They wanted to liberate the whole country. So they sacrificed things like looks, sijui fashion, sijui looking good with good hair, kujipamba, kujipodoa. That was not something of meaning. Okay? Kujigamba ati niko na gari hapa, niko na pesa mingi, mimi niko sijui nini, niko na bibi watatu, niko sijui na mademu sijui wangapi, sijui. That was the whole point. They sacrificed. That was not even, it was not even about beauty to them. Because they were going for a higher calling. Listen, I'll go to the Bible for those of you who don't like Bible. Karibu sana Brother Benson. Nice seeing you, brother. For those of you who don't know Brother Benson, go to Brother Benson's channel. He has a wonderful political channel. Subscribe there, share, like, comment, and do all the good stuff. Go to the Bible. Take an example of Satan. Satan, before he was cast out of heaven, he was known as Lucifer. Lucifer was described as the most beautiful angel in heaven. The Bible described the kind of stones that he was made of. Beautiful, his voice. Unaona? But he wanted to, alikuwa anataka kujiweka higher than God, his creator. What happened to him? He was cast out of heaven. Okay? Look at Jesus, on the other hand. Born in a manger. Eh? Simple. Never the Bible does not describe Jesus as beautiful. Does not emphasize on the outside beauty of how Jesus was. But the impact he had, because he was going for a higher calling, he had a higher calling, never wasted time on trivial matters as far as his outside appearance. It was about the redemption of mankind. And he had the most impact in every person, anyone who have ever lived on earth. Yes. So you understand? John the Baptist. Go listen to John the Baptist. Go read about John the Baptist. He never looked pretty. He was eating malokas tuko kwa ninio kwa mistuni. But it is warning the people about how the kingdom of God was nigh. John the Baptist. Go read about him. There's nothing pretty about him. What I'm saying is this. Musi, don't be caught up in this ninio ya easy culture ya sijui you have to show off your wealth, how much money you make, who you are rubbing shoulders with, how much your clothes cost, how big your house is. Those are all irrelevant. In fact, they're immaterial. We are going for a higher calling. You have a higher calling in life. Gen Z movement, they are going for a higher calling to liberate a country that has been under oppression for more than 60 years. We can't waste time on trivial issues as your looks, what you wear, how much your car costs, your house costs. Who cares? We can't waste time on trivial matters that isijui wewe ni Mjaluo, wewe ni Mkikuyu, wewe ni Mkamba. Those are trivial. Tunataka society Kenya ambayo every tribe wanaishi kwa amani and they're prospering. Hatuna ukabila, hatuwani kwa sababu ya ukabila. We live peacefully among ourselves. Yeah, materialism and ego. Thank you, WS Banker. So stop letting these politicians our divide. Huh? That's what I mean. We have everything. But it will take a little sacrifice ya kwenda maandamano na kutoa Ruto. We have to. Ruto ni mwoga. Ameogopa. Ako karibu kutoka. Ruto is almost leaving. Ruto ni mwoga. Na by the way, nyinyi wa Christian pia mpaka muombe. Kwa sababu hii vita pia is a spiritual vita. It's a spiritual war. Ni ushetani. Si uliona hizo ma Freemasons sio wakiongea hapo kwa Nairobi? So mpaka mufast na muombe. So that hii vita ambayo tunapigania ikuwe smooth transition. Kwa sababu most of these leaders we know ni madevo. So we should counter that. Biblia inasema if a strong man akikuja na kushike na kubind kwa nyumba yako, it will take a stronger man to come and bind that person so that he can free you. So hawa wanatumia shetani, nguvu za shetani ndio rule Kenya. So let us call upon the creator wakuja bind hawa watu na hiyo mashetani zao so we can be free as Kenyans. And we shall say that apologetically. So that the true Christians pia wapige magoti waombe as we fight this battle. Niliwaambia, hii battle ni ya different people. Every people will fight in a different way. Kuna watu ambao watakuwa frontline, kuna watu ambao watakuwa nyuma, kuna watu ambao wanatuma pesa, kuna watu wengine ambao wanafanya hizo mambo yao ya computer, wana hack. Wale watu wana hack nini hapa? Enda katumia hiyo ya kuhack by exposing the government. Wacha kuhack watu kama sisi. We are messengers. Lakini ukitaka kwa hack tu, judgment itakukujia saa yako. You understand? That's what I mean. Use your skills and in to free your country. You have to understand every battle starts in the spirit world. It starts in the air. Huko. Mamalaika zinapigana huko. Go read the book of Daniel. Kwa nafikiri na kudanganya. Go read. Yule malaika alikuja kuleta the good news to Daniel. Alimwambia, "Hey, uliomba 21 days na tulisikia maombi yako, nikatumwa nikuletee answer hapa. On my way nilishikwa with the prince ama prince of air." Those mashetani ambao wamewekwa huko juu. Angel Michael had to come and release. Wewe unacheza wewe. Anyway, nisiwahubirie leo. Vita lichacha huko juu. So it's a spiritual battle. And it's real today. Wacha niwamalizie na hii. It's so funny because nyinyi mkiambiwa mambo ya Biblia hamtaki kusikia. Lakini mkianza kuambiwa mambo ya voodoo na ile devil worshiping inaendelea Kenya na hizo Freemasons. Mkianza kuambiwa hivyo, you pay attention. Mnataka kusikia, shetani anafananaje? Alifanya nini? Ati shetani inakuangaje? Lakini mkianza kuambiwa mambo ya Yesu hamtaki kusikia. Lakini mnataka kusikia hawa mapasta wa upuzi hapo naambia, leteni kuja blessings kuja, come get some blessings. Blessings. Ndugu yangu, hii ni spiritual battle. It's real. Mungu is real. Anyway, niso preach. Yes, we know 1 hour 26 minutes. I usually don't go past 1 hour, but hey, listen, that's enough preaching for you today. Nitawazidia kupreach mambo mengine. Hata nimetoka topic nikaingia mambo mengine. I hope you get the point though, right? Anyway, do me a favor, guys. Subscribe, share, like, comment, do all the good stuff. Let me shout out some people in the comment section. WS Banka, nice seeing you, brother. Nice seeing you. Sijakona from my Shi Mariam, kama kawaida. Joseph Karaoke, thank you. You're the first one up here, so thank you so much. Brother Benson Media, like I told you guys, Brother Benson has a wonderful channel. Go to his channel. I usually listen to him. He breaks down politics. Unajua kuna channel zingine ukiangalia, unaona wanaongea mpaka unasikia, I want to be part of this conversation, okay? But I'm usually at work or something like this, so I can't get in. But I really like Brother Benson's channel, so go to his channel. Brother Benson Channel Media is a very well, level-headed guy. Wonderful stuff, contents. He has always guests up there, so mwendeni mka subscribe na mfanya mambo mengine. Who else? And everybody else who was part of this. Chief Negus. Chief Negus. How can I forget my wonderful friend Chief Negus? Thank you so much. Green pia anajitokeza tu kidogo anasema hi Green. Thank you so much. And everybody else, if I didn't mention you, Mugende Katende, my brother from Uganda. I hope he's doing well. My brother from another mother. Thank you so much for being part of it. How can I forget you, my dearest of friends? Thank you so much, guys. Like the video. And News Live, WGTV 569. I don't know what you're talking about. He was talking about breaking news, confirms. Wonderful. Anyway, thank you so much, everyone. Hit the like button if you're going to watch this on repeat. Please do that. Like it, subscribe, share, comment, and share it with your friends. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace and blessings, and stay safe. Okay? I'm out.